Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. I kind of came up with this video the other day because I realized I have been back-to-back new releases recently. I've been trying to read every single new release that has come out because we have just been very fortunate to get so many new releases from a lot of my favorite authors very recently and just like throughout the year. But I feel like with new releases, it's going to be a very much hit or miss. Like you have these expectations built around these new releases that you're really excited about, and they could be really amazing. They also could like be a bit of a miss. So I thought today would be fun to go through, not all because there's a lot, but like pretty much all of the most popular new releases and tell you whether I think they're worth your read or not, whether they live up to the kind of expectations we had for them or not. We have quite the list to get through, so we're gonna see how we go. Hopefully this video will be helpful. I haven't done a sit down video in what feels like a little bit, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and we're just gonna sit and chat, grab a little drink, grab a snack, and let's hang out for a little bit. I was gonna try and go in release order, but I genuinely like can't exactly remember what books released first, so we're just gonna do our best. But we're gonna start out on a very high note with Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favorite authors. A thing about her that really just surprises me and shocks me every single time is that she can write about subjects that I have absolutely no interest in, and I will be absolutely obsessed with them. I can't help it. She announced that she was writing a NASA space love story fiction. I was like, okay, kind of odd, but I was like, you know what? I didn't think I was going to enjoy a book about tennis, and I absolutely love Harry Soto. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to trust her, and I'm so glad I did because this has quickly become a 5-star read, one of the best reads of the entire year so far. This is set in the 1980s, and we are following a crew in NASA. Our main protagonist, Joan, is just kind of trying to figure out her life, but she's always loved space so much, and so she applies to be in the NASA program. It's a really interesting story. I don't think go into it expecting a love story though, because I feel like it's the characters that I was in love with. I wanted to see where our characters ended up. I wanted to see them work through these things. Taylor Jenkins Reid though has this way of writing that is just absolutely capturing. Like it is so unique and beautiful. I couldn't recommend this enough. Like if you're gonna take one recommendation from this video, I would literally say it's this one. Okay, next on my list is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I got an ARC for this one as well on my Kindle, and I didn't know what to expect for this one because I do believe it's a fan fiction that's been traditionally published, which I love. Like I love that that's happening more. I think that's so cool. I went into this one with not really any expectations, but unfortunately I wouldn't recommend this one. I didn't like it. I didn't like the humor. It's a very kind of vulgar humor, and I feel like if you don't like that, you're not going to enjoy it. If that is your kind of humor, you probably will have a really fun time reading it. It's very much a silly little fantasy romance. I would say this is more a romantasy, like a comedy romantasy. We are following two protagonists, enemies to lovers. One of them is kind of helping the other one overcome this sickness because she is like a healer. I just didn't like our characters, to be honest. I just didn't really connect with them. You might be the opposite. That was just my experience reading it. You might actually really enjoy it, but for me, I just wasn't connecting to anything about it. Like I wasn't laughing. I kind of was just staring at this page going like, do I actually enjoy what I'm reading? I did make myself read it all because I'm terrible at DNFing books. There were other books I would suggest a lot more over that book. Back to a very much higher note, obviously Sunrise on the Reaping was one of the biggest releases of the entire year. I don't think any of us expected another book in the Hunger Games world so quickly. I didn't. I was obsessed with this. This I could not recommend enough. I would say that this is probably my favorite book in the entire franchise, and that's saying a lot. Maybe it got ties with Catching Fire, but like seeing Haymitch's Games was incredible. If for some reason you don't know what Sunrise on the Reaping is about, it is set before the original Hunger Games trilogy, and we are following Haymitch's Games. It is sad, guys. It is so sad, but in the best way possible. Suzanne Collins writes an extraordinary book. Like I absolutely loved being back in this world. It exceeded every single expectation I had for it, and my expectations were high. I had so many boxes I wanted checked. I was like, if this doesn't happen, if this doesn't happen, if this doesn't happen, I'm not gonna like it. Every single thing happened that I wanted to happen. I was obsessed with it. Like I cannot recommend this book enough. And it's crazy because those original books were written such a long time ago. I didn't think that she would be able to match that same writing style, that same environment, anything like that, but it was absolutely perfect. Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I feel like this one was pretty popular, but it definitely was in a very specific corner of the internet. So for all my Magnolia Parks fans, we were very excited to get a new Jessa Hastings book. I was really confused because like I love the Magnolia Parks series so much. I didn't like Never at all. That was not my kind of book. So I was like, this one could be really 50-50 for me. However, I would say that this actually shocked me at how good it was. It was very easy to read. I think the reason I liked it so much is because I connected to it so much. I saw myself in the main protagonist, and I've talked to you guys before, that doesn't happen very often. It's all about family dynamics, big families. I come from big family, everything like that. We are basically following Georgia, who is now living in London after moving away from her family who lives in, where do they live again? In South Carolina. But when she learns that her dad has passed away and they need to attend his funeral and have a will reading, she goes back to South Carolina very begrudgingly. She doesn't want to go see her family again. There are so many tensions in her family and she's just never felt like she really fit in with a lot of them. When they read her father's will, they realize that he has actually left a lot of his possessions and belongings to somebody else that they don't know. They've never heard of them before. It was really good. I really liked the family dynamics. It was very much a contemporary fiction, I would say. It just commented a lot on, you know, character development, like big monumental things that happen in your life and how they shape you as a person, everything like that. I actually really liked this one so much more than I was expecting. Another really popular release, I think I read this actually at the end of December last year, so a little bit early, was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I only just got introduced to Abby Jimenez earlier last year, and I haven't read her backlog, but I've read Say You'll Remember Me, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer. And that little interconnected universe is everything to me. I was absolutely obsessed, way more than I thought I was going to be. So yeah, couldn't recommend them enough. So I was super excited that Say You'll Remember Me was coming out and still connected to this universe. I will say, I think this is my least favorite part of that interconnected world. For some reason, the vibes were a little bit different. Basically, we are following these two strangers who meet and form a beautiful connection. One of them is a vet, but then one of them gets called to have to leave across the country to look after her family member. But they had this insane connection, so they kind of try and do long distance. It's kind of a very different premise to the other books in the series. I still enjoyed it. I still had a really good time, and I think if you loved the rest of the series, you definitely should read it. But it definitely wasn't my favorite Abby Jimenez book I've read. It was good, but I wouldn't say it was like extraordinary. And Yours Truly, I would say, is extraordinary. Next is Our Infinite Fates. Now, this actually came out early this year in February, but I only just read it in the past few months, finally, after having it for a long time. I was really excited to go into this because I had been seeing incredible reviews on it, people saying that it was a new 5-star for them. And what I'm really confused about is I loved the first 60-70% of this. I was absolutely obsessed. Basically, we are following two protagonists who have loved each other in every single lifetime, but have killed each other in every one. They basically keep reincarnating as different people in different lifetimes, different generations, but they never make it to the age of 18. So it's a really interesting premise, and you're kind of like, how is this going to be resolved? I didn't love the ending though. I didn't love the resolution. I was a little bit shocked. I was like, is that really what just happened? Like, what am I reading? So that kind of downed my rating for it, and for that reason, I don't know if I would recommend it. I read Silver Cloak, which I don't have in this video because it's not as popular. Highly recommend though. That's another new release from Laura Stevens, just under a different name, and I think that is 100 times better than Our Infinite Fates. This is still a really fun, easy read. You'll binge through it, like it's so easy, but I just was kind of disappointed with the ending. Another super anticipated release from me, because this is one of my favorite authors, is Night in the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and it has also been announced recently that there is going to be another book in this series, which I am so excited about. I love Rachel Gillig. The Shepherd King duology by her is one of my favorite duologies I have read. I'm just obsessed with it. This one is based in the world of divination. We are following Sybil, who is a diviner. She kind of like pitches these omens and stuff in her dream. Diviners are set to serve a certain period of time, and when it comes to the end of that time, a mysterious knight comes into their situation. This also has a really good sense of mystery. I just thought this was actually the perfectly rounded plot. I thought there was a good amount of romance, an incredible world that was established, a brand new world. Oh, obsessed with it, felt so unique, and a really good sense of mystery, enough that it kept you quite engaged the entire time. Like, I didn't want to put it down because I was like, what's gonna happen? I think Rachel Gillig is one of my favorite authors. She is absolutely incredible. Her worlds that she creates are so unique. Like in the Shepherd King duology, our magic system is based off tarot cards. In this one, we're based off divination. Not that unique things, but putting a magic twist on it, making them the core of the magic system, is really unique, and I love it. I definitely told you we're not going in like actual release order because I'm just picking up kind of, I have a whole stack of books and I'm picking them up as I go and like checking off my list. The next book we're going to talk about, I don't want to talk too much about this one because I actually have a reading vlog coming on it, but I did want to give my thoughts because I feel like my thoughts are quite different to everyone else's, and that is Alchemized by Senlin Yu. Guys, this book literally broke the internet in a matter of days of its release, which is just so crazy from a debut author. Very, very impressive. Was so happy for them. I very much separated this from the work it was based on. Number one, I hadn't read that work, so I was like excited to go into this with brand new eyes, and I just heard such incredible things about it. People were raving about it, 6-star read, saying that like you connect to it on a whole different level, and you guys know I love that. I love that in my books. But the thing is, I don't know how much I connected to this book. Not nearly as much as I was expecting to, and I do think having such high expectations for it definitely altered my experience reading it. Maybe if I went in blind, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But going in expecting to be so emotionally distraught over it, I did look up trigger warnings and everything before going in as well. Highly recommend. I just was a little bit let down. I'm not disappointed, it just wasn't a 5-star read for me. If you don't know what Alchemizer is about, we're kind of post-war. We're following our main protagonist, Helena, and she is a prisoner of war. However, when we start following her, she realizes that she has lost her memory of how she got to this position, of what happened during the war, what led up to this kind of post-war, dark, depressing world. So she is sent to the High Reeve in attempt to get her memories back. She's one of the only members of the resistance left, and they think she holds key information. I will say the reason I'm gonna say maybe for this one is because this is a lengthy book. And look, you may absolutely love this, like so many other people, you may be absolutely obsessed with it, but I do think don't have super high expectations like I did, because I do think at the end of the day that altered my experience of reading it, and I didn't want for that to happen. I wanted to make my own opinions, and I just kind of feel bad when they're not as good as everyone else's. So yeah, this one was a little bit like 50-50 for me. Moments I absolutely loved of it, but also it was 1,000 pages and it did feel a little bit dragged out. I will say the writing in itself, very captivating though. Speaking of books that broke the internet and tore people in half, Releasing 10. Now, The Boys of Tommen. I have such a special place in my heart for this series. This series will forever be such a special series to me, and this is the newest release in the Boys of Tommen universe. Let me say, please go into this looking at trigger warnings. Do not go into this if you're under the age of 18. This is not intended for a young audience. Intense, very dark content that is explored. But if you love the Boys of Tommen, if you've followed them up until Taming 7, read it. Absolutely read it. It's very confronting. Issues that are talked about are actually really important. I know that this caused a lot of controversy. I actually was kind of blown away by it, and I cried so much during this book. This is a book that emotionally destroyed me. This trilogy is just so popular. But this is the third book in the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. This is Fearless. This also came out at the beginning of the year. And I'm kind of 50-50 on the Powerless series. I actually really enjoyed the first one. I didn't mind the second one. It's a kind of fun fantasy series. It's a fun romantasy series. It's nothing you're gonna take too seriously, because I do see a lot of similarities in it to other books that I've read, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be reading this for some brand new magical world. So yeah, I've kind of got like mixed feelings towards it, but I ultimately wanted to finish the trilogy. I wanted to conclude it. So we did read Fearless. This just felt really weirdly paced to me. So my recommendation is, if you liked the first book, hated the second book, I wouldn't bother reading this. If you liked the first book, loved the second book, I'd go into reading this. If you want a fun romantasy series that you don't need to think too much about, that is just some really fun characters, read it. But this felt very oddly paced to me. First part was really well paced. It was quite slow. It was quite a kind of slow burn to the action, if that makes sense. Not a slow burn romance wise, but like a slow burn to the action, and I was loving that. And then in the last like 20-30% of this book, everything happened. Kind of Sarah J Maas style. I was like, girl, slow down. Like I was like, we need to flesh this out. I need more explanations for what is happening. I needed Easter eggs of this happening at the beginning of the book, so it made a little bit more sense and it didn't just come out of nowhere. It was quite confusing to me. Also the ending, what on earth? Like people who have read this, like what was that ending? This one's like a 50-50. I read this super recently, and this is Mate by Ellie Hazelwood. This is her newest release and a continuation from Bride. I read Bride when it first came out and was obsessed with it. I love the way Ellie Hazelwood writes a paranormal romance, because it is exactly that. It's a paranormal romance. There is not a lot of world building, not a lot of politics. We are literally there for the romance, and they happen to be paranormal people. So in this book, we are following Serena, who is a hybrid human werewolf. And then we are also following Cohen, who is the alpha werewolf of his pack. We do have cameos of our characters from Bride, so I would recommend reading Bride beforehand. I also have seen, as reviews have started to come out about this, that a lot of people did prefer Bride over this one. I actually think I preferred Mate over Bride for some reason. I don't know why. I'm usually not into werewolves. I'm usually more of a vampire girl, but Mate was really fun. I cannot recommend this one enough, honestly. This was such a fun time. If you didn't like Bride, don't read it. But if you liked Bride, cannot recommend this enough. I had the best time reading this. I was getting giggly. I was getting butterflies. I was kicking my feet. Like those vibes. The slow burn was actually a slow burn. Do you know how rare that is? It's very rare. Would not recommend this enough. I don't even have too much to say. Just go read it. Have fun. This is a little bit of a niche one. Oops. This is a little bit of a niche one. But Save Me by Mona Kastan. This is the first book in the Maxton Hall series. And I thought I'd talk about this one because the TV show Maxton Hall obviously like took over last year. I was obsessed with it. And so when they were finally translating the books from German into English and they were releasing this year, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. However, I will say, I actually think the TV show was better than the books. This was still really fun to read, but I actually think like the chemistry and everything was better in the TV show, which is so rare. It's so rare. I still think it's really fun to read the books, and if you want more of your characters, please read. So much fun. I didn't expect to enjoy the TV show more than I enjoyed the book, because that never happens. I won't talk too much about this one because I also did a reading vlog on this very recently, but that is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. It only just came out though, so I wanted to give you like my basic thoughts on it. Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber is her first adult fantasy. However, I do think it didn't feel super adult. I felt like our characters were just adults and it still felt very YA. Anything Stephanie Garber writes, I will be reading. I absolutely love the worlds she creates. They feel like mystical, magical dreams in the best way possible. In this one, we are following Holland St. James, and she takes part in university classes. And one particular, it talks about the myths and urban legends of the area that they are based in. Whilst lots of people don't believe in magic though, Holland does. It is also set around Halloween, so it is the perfect time to pick up this book, and it's just so much fun. Like, you don't know who to trust. It's all set over like a 24-hour period. Stakes are high. I will say it felt a little bit rushed, especially towards the end. I wanted more. I wanted so much more of our characters. So yeah, if I have one complaint, it's that we need this to be bigger. Like, this was way too short. But apart from that, it was a really fun read. I won't talk too much about it, as I said, because I feel like I've talked a lot about it recently, but yeah. For some romance books as well, we also had Wildcard, which was the newest book in the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver. I feel like I want to recommend this series as a whole, like whether you should read it as a whole or not. If you want a fun country/cowboy small town vibes romance series, I would read it. These are all interconnected books, so you can read them as a standalone, but if you read them in order, it introduces you to our characters slowly. You get cameos of our couples from earlier books in the next book. Like, the series as a whole, I don't know, I like the Chestnut Spring series more. I think that's also by Elsie Silver, and technically these are connected. They're basically two small towns set within Canada, and they're like a few hours from each other. So you do have like now and then little overlapping characters, which is really fun. So yeah, I would recommend the Chestnut Spring series over this series, but it's still really fun. And if you loved the Chestnut Spring series, like, you'll probably have a good time. Rewind It Back is the last book in the Windy City series. Well, technically, I think we have like another novella coming or something like that, which is really fun, but it's technically the last full book in the Windy City series, which is by Liz Tomford. I started this series a few years ago, and I've just been following it every time a new book releases. I actually really like it. If you're not a sports romance person, you probably won't like it. In each book, we are following a different multi-millionaire sports player and their story to love. I did not expect to enjoy it so much, but I truly think it is up there with The Right Move. Previously, The Right Move was my favorite book in this series, but Rio as a love interest was so good. This is kind of like childhood friends / second chance romance, and that's not typically my favorite trope, but I feel like in this case it gave our characters so much depth. There was true reasons behind their past. Like, it actually made sense, and they were both so wholesome. They were just so perfect for each other. I loved the situation. I loved the chemistry. I loved the way that they treated each other. I actually got like goosebumps reading this because I was like, you guys are so wholesome together and you guys make so much sense. So I didn't expect to love this one as much as I did, but like, cannot recommend this one specifically enough. The series as a whole is kind of hard to recommend because some of them, like Mile High and Caught Up, I'm not obsessed with, but then the other ones I really, really enjoyed. So I don't know, if you're a sports or romance kind of fan, they're really easy, fun times. The last book on my list today is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Now, this one definitely got a lot of different reviews. This one wasn't a 5-star from me. Emily Henry can often be a 5-star, but this one wasn't quite up there as a 5-star for me, purely because it felt very similar to Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Basically, we are following our protagonist Alice, who as a protagonist I absolutely loved. She was so bubbly and fun, and oh, I loved her as a protagonist. But we are following her, and she has kind of been tracking down this infamous Margaret, who kind of lived this scandalous life and then just disappeared off the face of the earth. But she has finally found her, and she wants nothing more than to write her biography. She has competition. A academic rival also wants to write Margaret's story, and so they basically get 1 month to interview Margaret as much as they want and write a few chapters, and Margaret gets to choose which one she likes more. It was really fun to read. I really like A Small Town. I actually really liked this. I think I gave it a 4.5. Like, I didn't really not enjoy it. I actually quite enjoyed it. But I do see where people might not like it. Some people didn't like the main protagonist. Some people thought it was quite unrealistic with them bumping into each other in a small town setting all the time. Personally, I lived in a small town, so that does happen all the time, as much as you don't want it to sometimes. So yeah, I didn't think that was that unrealistic, but I did think it was a little bit too similar to Seven Husbands. There was elements I really loved about it, elements I didn't, but I think if you're an Emily Henry lover, I would suggest it, but I wouldn't suggest it as your first Emily Henry book, if that makes sense. But yeah, those are all the books we're going to be talking about today. I hope this helped you a little bit, helped you decide what books you want to pick up next, maybe gave you some recs you weren't aware of. I feel like it's always interesting when there's so many different opinions going around new releases. If your reading judgment usually aligns with mine, hopefully this can help you and give you some guidance. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have made it to here, thank you so much. That means the absolute world to me. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.